first thing I wanted to talk about today is kind of the state of the NBA, where the NBA is right now. I wanted to jump right into the All-Star game and the way those festivities took place, which I'm totally not a fan of. Um, the NBA has totally, the ratings have dropped massively this year, and have been over the last 4 or 5 seasons just in general. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that the talent pool, I mean, you could say the talent pool is there, but it's just not like it was, man. And I'm not here to be, the get off my lawn guy, or the old NBA was the better NBA, although it was, right. I am 42 years old, so I grew up watching Hakeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley and John Starks on the Knicks Bulls rivalries, and Michael Jordan, obviously Kobe. That was my era. My era was really, honestly, you could say 90 to 2006. That was my era. So when you hear from me, and you'll better understand where I'm coming from, because that time was just different, man. It was so magical. A lot of these kids, all they know is the Steph Curry era. All they know is the LeBron era, and some of them weren't even born when LeBron got in the league. I remember when LeBron was in high school. I'm about 3 years older, 2 or 3 years older than LeBron, so 2 years older, because he just turned 40. I'm 42. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just kind of wanted to get into it, man. I guess the first thing that I want to talk about really is the talent pool, college, the way college was, right? It used to be a time where you had all these top recruited players, they were on magazines, they were in the high school McDonald All-Star game, and it was just a lot to look forward to. It was a big deal when they revealed what college they were going to, right? You sit down and they got all these hats sitting here, this is where he's going. Or they would commit. Some of them would commit as early as freshman or, sophomore year in high school. They would commit to a college. And it was a big deal, right? UConn, Duke, North Carolina, the true blue blood, Syracuse. It was a big deal to commit to a college back then. Now, it's a lot of guys that are either coming from overseas, a lot of guys that are coming from the G League Unite, or Elite. I'm sorry, I said Unite. G League Elite. Some of these, better, G League teams, because guys are able to come right out of high school and make money right away, which I don't see anything wrong with that. But I think my biggest problem comes where, when it's like a guy is seeing these dollar signs, but it's really hurting his stock as an NBA player down the line. When I started watching basketball, guys like Tim Duncan, stayed in college 4 years. You see what his career ended up being. 5 championships. Can't think if he won any MVPs right now, but he had a very, very successful career. He's one of the top big men of all time. But that's what I believe the youth should get back to. And I'm going to be honest with you. I blame NIL. I blame the parents. You look at like a LeBron James, right? And this is no bash, because I know it's a lot of LeBronites out there, or whatever you want to call yourselves. But it's a lot of people that come to the defense of LeBron James when the truth comes out, or when somebody has a fact or an opinion about LeBron James. But the way that the whole Bronny thing went down, right? He had heart surgery. He had a serious heart condition. Committed to USC. Went there. Was not even one of the top players on his team. And you're one and done. I understand the dream of wanting to play with your son, on the same court with him. That's history in the making, right? No NBA player has ever played in the same game with his son. And that's a beautiful thing, right? I love the story. It's one of the things, like, it sounds like Disney. So it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a happily ever after story. But the problem that I have with that is, if LeBron really wants to set his son up for long-term success. Why rush the process? Why rush him getting to the NBA? Some people call it nepotism and this and that, all these different things, but at the end of the day, let him earn it. Let him be the guy that says, and I mean, he says all the right things, right? He says all the right things. He says, well, you know, I don't want to be basically in my dad's shadow. I want to earn everything that I get. But come on, let's keep it real. Is he an NBA ready player right now? Absolutely not. And that's my whole thing. So anyway, back to it. The college thing, the NIL thing, these guys are rushing these guys to get to the NBA. I was just looking at I'm trying to think what year it was, the draft year. I want to say it was 2020 or maybe 2019, somewhere in there where Jason Tatum came out, De'Aaron Fox, Josh Jackson. It was the draft with what's that kid's name? Right on the tip of my tongue. He ended up getting drafted. Markelle Fultz, and Lonzo Ball. That draft, when you look at that top 5 draft, man, what disappointments that draft ended up being. Markelle Fultz, he hasn't played for the Kings this season. I didn't even know he was on the Kings till a couple of days ago. He hadn't played all year. Lonzo Ball, been out pretty much the better part of the last 2 years. He finally came back this season, but he's had a lot of injury issues. Josh Jackson, he's not even in the NBA. Another one, Dennis Smith Jr. was also in that draft. He's out the league. And it's just like when you look at a top 5, you're expecting 15, I'm not going to say 15 because everybody don't play 15, 20 years like LeBron and Melo and Wade and all those guys, right? But when you look at a draft, you're expecting the best. When you look at those top 5 picks, you're expecting these guys to last. You're expecting these guys to be superstars, you know? And it's just really the NBA product as a whole, it's cheeks. Let's just keep it a buck. It's cheeks. The NBA product as a whole is complete cheeks, bro. And this is why they're trying to do all these things. In my opinion, the in-season tournament, trash, bro. It's trash. Why are you having what is the purpose of an in-season championship or champion? What are you really getting out of it? Because you could win the in-season tournament and not even make the playoffs. Another thing, I hate the, the play-in, where you got teams 7 through 10 fighting for the last 2 playoff spots. It used to be a time where 7 and 8, you just made it. I mean, what are you working for? Are you working to a 7 seed to lose to a 10 seed so the 10 seed can make the playoffs? No. What's the purpose of playing 82 games if I'm going to give up my seed or give up my position in the playoffs to a team that's not even as good as me? They might have 5 or 6 more losses or 10 more losses than I. So I just think what Adam Silver is doing right now, basically you had a concert / entertainment show / comedy show featuring a little bit of the NBA All-Star game, right? You look at All-Star weekend with the dunk contest, cheeks. Mac McClung, shout out to you, bro. 3-time slam dunk champion. Stephon Castle, the rookie for the Spurs, guard. He came in, did some nice smooth dunks, made it look easy. But it was just funny. I'm looking at Vince Carter, and Vince Carter is just hyping all these guys up. The NBA hired Vince Carter to hype these guys up because Vince Carter, let's just face it, he's the greatest slam dunk champion of all time. The slam dunk contest, man, I'm afraid to say it. I think that was in 2000, which would be 25 years ago. The silver anniversary of the 2000 slam dunk contest. And I remember that contest. I sat there and watched that contest. I was 17 years old. It's crazy to say that. But, it was Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. I want to say Jerry Stackhouse was in that dunk contest. He was still playing for the Pistons at that time. Larry Hughes was in there. Those are the 4 that I remember. Back then, it used to be 7 or 8 dudes in the dunk contest. Now it's been 4 for the last, 10 or 15 years. So I guess they picked like the best 4 dunkers, but that's not really the case. I mean, let's face it, Mac McClung is not even in the NBA. He plays for the Orlando Magic, but he's a G League player, so they pull him up. He's on a 2-way deal. So it's like you're asking a G League player to revive the dunk contest. That just goes to show you how sad of a state the NBA really is. If you think about it, right, an ideal slam dunk contest would feature a Zion Williamson, a Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, possibly a Sir and a Amen Thompson. You know, a Jalen Green would be great. These are the guys that we want to see, the high flyers, the guys that do it in the game. You know, we've seen guys catching bodies in the game, 360s and windmills and I mean all kind of stuff. It's just crazy that you're asking a G League player to jump over a car, right, to win a slam dunk contest because the viewership is going down. You know, I even look at the selection of the 3-point contest, like Cade Cunningham. Like, why would you ask a guy that, now I'm a Pistons fan, as you can see. Why would you ask Cade Cunningham to be in a 3-point contest when clearly Malik Beasley is one of the top 3-point shooters in the NBA? He's on the Pistons. Why wouldn't you want your best representation? Like whoever is getting these guys to participate in these, you know, All-Star weekend festivities, man, they got to do a better job, or you got to get somebody else because the product is cheeks. It's just simply cheeks, bro. I'm sorry to say it, but it's facts, and there's proof. You know, there's evidence. So yeah, you know, the overall NBA product, it's really in a sad state. You know, even if you want to look at it from this standpoint, the last 5 NBA MVPs are international players. Now, I don't personally have a problem with that. I love Giannis. I love Joker, right? I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's a Canadian. I don't love Embiid. That's a whole nother story, man. This Embiid guy, bro. I just seen a graphic not too long ago where this dude has officially missed 400 games in his NBA career. You're talking about a max NBA player. Can you imagine? Those Sixers fans, sorry for you. Well, not really, because Philadelphia fans in general, y'all just won a Super Bowl, so that's another story. But can you imagine being a Philadelphia 76ers fan, going through the process, picking guys like Jahlil Okafor, and he turns out to be a bust. Nerlens Noel turns out to be a bust. You draft all these centers over the years. You drafted Joel Embiid. Dude missed the first season. Second season came back, got hurt again. You know, you drafted Markelle Fultz over Jason Tatum? Really? I mean, man, Philly fans have been through it. Like, and I'm a Pistons fan, so I understand, you know, the different ebbs and flows of teams going through their misery. I mean, the Pistons for the longest time, man, we missed the playoffs every year. The years when we had Andre Drummond and Reggie Jackson and Blake Griffin, we made the playoffs as an 8th seed, only to get swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, to go from 8 straight Eastern Conference Finals and 2 straight Finals appearances in 03, the 03-04 season and 04-05 season. We beat the Lakers in the championship, and then we lose to the Spurs the following year. So for all those wins, for everything that we built, right, to go like through a decade of basically NBA purgatory, man, the Pistons are having their first winning season for the first time since like 2014, I think, or 2019. So I don't know. It's just been, I don't even know, because it's just been a long time. But I'm just grateful as a Pistons fan that we're 29-26. We're 3 games over 500, whereas last season we were 14-68, right? This time last year we had only probably won 6 or 7 games, and this year we're 29 wins. 6th seed in the NBA, right, in the Eastern Conference right now. So that's very exciting as a Pistons fan. But it's just crazy, man, just looking at like the state like of, you know, another thing I wanted to talk about is just like the load management. Like, speaking of Joel Embiid and the Sixers, you guys went out your way to sign, you know, Podcast P now. We used to call him Playoff P, PG-13, better known as Paul George. You go out and pay him. You go out and pay him $212 million, misses all these games. And I seen something on Instagram where they said his last game before the All-Star break, he scored 2 points, and then he's out on vacation in Cancun somewhere drinking some wine on the beach. Now listen, I don't have no problem with players enjoying themselves. You made a lot of money. You made the NBA. It's a hard thing to do. Paul George has had a pretty good NBA solid career, especially when he was in Indiana. He's had a pretty good career, so he deserves to enjoy the fruits of his labor. However, Podcast P, bro, stop making podcasts. At one point in the season, Paul George had more podcast episodes out than games played. How do you think the fans feel, man? How do you think? Speaking of how the fans feel, LeBron James again, I got to bring it up. You wait to an hour or two before the NBA All-Star game to announce that you're not playing? Wow, Bron. Really? That's what we doing? I could name 5 players that deserve that All-Star spot in the Western Conference. How about Domantas Sabonis? How about Norman Powell? You know, there are a plethora of guys that could have played in that game, could have been an alternate or whatever. And you decide right before the game, my ankle is hurt, I'm not going to play. NBA, that was dirty. That was dirty, NBA. You know, y'all know all them fans spent thousands of dollars, $1,000 and $1,200 to sit up in a bowl, in the upper bowl. And this is in Golden State. So, you know, everything, taxes and everything goes up that much more. Y'all waited till the NBA fans bought all these tickets to the game. Now, mind you, the All-Star game is kind of like the Super Bowl. It's a special event. It's something where you may only go to one of these in your lifetime, right? Some people saved up their money. They traveled. They went out of their way to go see LeBron James and these guys play. To a lot of people, LeBron James is still the greatest player in the NBA. To them, he's the best player. He's their favorite. And you allowed him to let all these tickets get sold just to announce, I'm not playing. That's messed up. That's messed up. That's trash, bro. If I was a LeBron diehard, and I'm not, if I was a LeBron fan, I would really be crushed if I was at that game and he didn't play. Because he's one of the highlights of the weekend, right? The dunk contest is trash. And that's another thing. A lot of people blame LeBron James for stars not being in the dunk contest. When I came up, man, you had Dominique Wilkins, you had Michael Jordan, you had Kenny Skywalker. Like, you had dudes who could dunk the ball. It was fun. It was entertainment. And I think one of the reasons why guys like LeBron James and Edwards and Zion, I can't speak for all of them, but I think it's a psyche thing. I think they think, you know, now first of all, LeBron doesn't need the dunk contest. He doesn't need it. Certain guys need it. Back in the day, Kenny Skywalker, Larry Nance, who won the first ever dunk contest, for those who don't know, in 1983, the year I was born, he played for the Phoenix Suns. Larry Nance won the very first dunk contest. By the way, his son, Larry Nance Jr. is in the NBA. He plays for, currently he just got traded. Who does he play for? I want to say he was in New Orleans. He got traded for DeJounte Murray and Dyson Daniels. So he's in Atlanta now. But I was just saying that, you know, there are certain players that need the dunk contest, right? They need it. Matter of fact, historically, there's a lot of guys in the dunk contest you probably forgot they were even in it, or you don't even know these guys. You never even heard of them. Like, there was a guy named Tony Terry or something. Terrence something. It's a lot of guys that you never heard of, but they were good jumpers. They were flying out the gym, you know. We've seen so many different things about the dunk contest. We've seen it from Nate Robinson to Dwight Howard, a 7-footer putting on the cape, you know, yamming. Like, oh, Jason Richardson, shout out to Jay Rich. Saginaw, born and bred, won a couple of dunk contests back in the day. I think Shannon Brown was in it. I'm sorry, guys, I'm kind of all over the place, but as things come to me, I just kind of spit them out. But just in general, man, you know, a lot of people have blamed LeBron James for the death of the NBA dunk contest. I mean, let's just keep it honest. It's really dead. You know, Blake Griffin for a while, he was jumping over the Kia. Aaron Gordon when he played for the Magic. Zach LaVine when he played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Man, those were some great dunk contests, but it's really in a sad state. And me personally as a fan, I would love to see the NBA dunk contest come back. And to be honest with you, it could come back in just one night. You put the right players in there, man, these fans will go crazy. These fans will go crazy. But I just thought that was dirty by the NBA to let LeBron James to do that. To tell the NBA in a pregame press conference, I won't be playing tonight, an hour before the game. Man, that was dirty. That was so dirty. Man, it's so many different ways I could go. How do y'all feel about these trade requests? Like, I used to feel like I was on the NBA side when it came to trade requests, right? I was on the NBA side of, this is your contract. This is the organization you play for. They're paying you handsomely. Just go out and do your job. Now, if the organization, you feel like the organization is doing you wrong, they're doing underhanded things. Oh, by the way, that Luka AD trade, bro. Anyway, let me get back to what I'm saying before I get to that. I used to be on the side of the NBA where it's like, listen, you play for this team that's paying you handsomely. Just play. What really is the problem? Right? In the corporate world, we deal with all kind of things. Some of us don't make enough, right? Some of us don't get the benefits that we feel we deserve. And to a certain extent, you could say we're settling, right? I could do better. I could get a better job. I could do better. I can move on. But while you're there, you have to remain professional. Remain professional. Some of these guys, man, every time I look up, Kevin Durant's name is in a trade conversation. Harden, surprisingly, James Harden, his name hasn't come up this year. Thank God. But Ben Simmons, like, every time you look up, like, you know, Paul George, you know, certain guys, you just all, and my mind is kind of slipping right now as to some of those names. As you're watching this podcast episode, I'm pretty sure you're sitting there saying names and throwing names out there. Definitely put those in the comment section. But it's just crazy, man, how these guys, you know, want to be traded so much and so often. Like, I love Dirk Nowitzki. I love Tim Duncan and Kobe and guys that stayed with their organizations for them to do that in this day and age, man, hats off. Like, that's commendable. That's so commendable to stay with a team for 15, 20 years and retire there. But times are different, man. You know, everybody think it's greener. The grass is greener on the other side. Let me go to this team. Let me team up with my buddies. You know, these super team tragedies. I mean, I could name them from the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie, KD, and Harden. Didn't do nothing. The Phoenix Suns one is about to be over soon. Bradley Beal, KD, and Booker. Man, it's just been disappointment after disappointment. And I'm telling you, man, the NBA product is, that's really kind of the theme of this episode. The NBA product is really on some sad stuff right now, bro. Like, it's even like, I was just thinking about it, and I didn't happen to watch the NBA All-Star game this year. I really haven't watched it in like the last 3 years because I absolutely hate the product, bro. Like, seriously, like, it used to be a time where it was East versus West. You know, back when Kobe and Jordan and them was playing, it was a competitive game. Now, yeah, they was running up and down the court, showing out, doing some flashy stuff. And, you know, it wasn't as much defense, right? The score used to be like 150, like 145. But that's like a normal NBA game now, 150 to 145. But just overall, it's kind of sad to watch. You know, you come across half court and you just pull up. Now there are certain players, Steph, Dame, that's what they do. That's just what they do. It's allowed. It's exciting for a lot of fans. That's not my NBA. My NBA was when defense was played, was when it was physical. Like Anthony Edwards or John Morant would not be able to come down and just dunk on your whole team. Nope. Flip that joker on his head. Nope. It's not happening. Not necessarily saying Detroit Bad Boys days where Rick Mahorn and Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer and those guys were just knocking guys out the air. But at the same time, we got to send a statement. You're not coming through here doing that, bro. It's not happening. It's not happening. Not on my watch. And it's not enough Ron Artest in the NBA no more. It's not enough Reggie Evans and guys who do the dirty work and the scrappy work. Raja Bell. You know, it's not enough trying to think of some of those really gritty defenders. Like they were known for their defense. You know, it used to be a time, Tony Allen, it used to be a time where you can get by literally on defense. I'll pop a couple threes here and there. You know, 3-and-D guys, as they call them, which is a very valuable key to have on any championship type team, right? You need your stretch fours, you need your shooters, you need your 3-and-D guys, you need your rim protectors. Those are like the main things that you need. And you need your facilitators as well. But, man, a guy can make his bones on playing defense back in the day. Look at Ben Wallace. He won the Defensive Player of the Year 4 times. Dwight Howard, 4 times. You know, these are not superstars offensively. These are superstars on defense, and they protect the rim, and they play defense, and they steal the ball. They do a little bit of everything. These are the guys that I love. These are the guys that were developed. You know, now we got these one-and-dones. What is going on? One and done? It's so many guys that have ruined their careers going to college for 1 year. Bro, what happened to experience in college? What happened to, you know, let's win a championship for this university? You know, what happened to the guys that grew up watching that college? Oh, man, when I get 17, 18, I'm going there. We're going to win us a championship. You know, those recruiting days, those are the days where I love teammates and guys getting together saying, we all going to that college together. And we're going to win a championship just like we did in high school. Or we're going to win a championship just like we did in the AAU circuit. Now, they doing that crap in the NBA. Every trade deadline. You know what they talking about? We're going to give LeBron some help. Huh? It's just a sad state, man. Hey, man, shout out to WGWN, the Green Wonder Network, Rich Petaway. Hey, man, we here, baby. We finally getting this episode recorded. I'm excited. Let me see how long we've been on. Like, we've been on for almost 30 minutes now. But shout out to WGWN, man, network. We're going to be on YouTube, Rutley Sports Media. The graphics should be popping up right about there or about here, wherever. Glad to finally be with you guys, man. Once again, this is Jason Rutley. This is Ready, Set, Rut. I definitely want you guys to put comments in the comment section here on YouTube. We're going to be on Facebook. We're going to be all over the internet with just content, man. We're going to come with it. We're going to come with it. Just really excited to meet you guys. But let's get back to it. Ticket prices and ratings in the NBA right now. Like I said, like even more so in those expensive states like California, New York, Madison Square Garden. Like, shout out to Matt Ishbia. Matt Ishbia, United Wholesale Mortgage. He's a Michigan guy, went to Michigan State, played on the 2000 Michigan State Championship college, the NCAA championship team with Mateen Cleaves, Charlie Bell, Mo Pete. Matt Ishbia was on that team. He recently, I think a couple of years ago, bought the Phoenix Suns and one of the things that he did that I absolutely love is he cut concession prices. He cut the prices of concessions to like $2. It's like two. You can buy a beer, you can buy hot dogs, you can buy a nacho. Everything is like $2 now, because he's somebody that realizes the state that the world is in. Like, it used to be a time, where you could get an NBA ticket for like 10 or 15 bucks, right? You had to park, probably another 10 or 15 bucks. You buy your family a meal, and you could pretty much leave an NBA game. You might even go into the, store, the NBA store, or the team's, store, and get a hat, get a jersey, whatever. You could leave a game paying a couple of $100 for your family. Everybody eats, everybody's happy. A family of 4, let's say, you can probably leave about $250 back in the day. Now, man, you didn't spend $200 before you even got to your seat. Parking is $60. Like, fees for this, like fees for that. It's just ridiculous, man. At the end of this, first season of this podcast, you guys might say, hey man, J Rutt is that get off my lawn guy. I don't know. But it's just the way I see certain things, man. It's crazy. Like, I'm a really nostalgic guy in general. I'm a nostalgic guy. I just remember the 90s, right? Where life was just simple, before social media, before opinions. Everybody has an opinion now. Everybody's commenting. This guy is a bomb. This guy is stupid. This guy, and it's just like, what? Like, you don't even know these people. But it's just crazy, man. Just the state that we're in as not just Americans, but in the world. Like, never mind. I don't want to get off into a tangent, but ticket prices are astronomical. I am a football first guy. The reason I decided to talk about the NBA today is just because the All-Star weekend just passed and we're in basketball season now. But I definitely want to touch a little bit on the NFL. We'll just start with the Super Bowl because, and then we'll get, during the off season, we'll get more into the totality of the NFL. But right now, we'll start with the Super Bowl. And I'll just say a few things and then I'll get out of here. First of all, I am a Detroit Lions fan. I'm a Detroit sports fan through and through. And also, before I get to that, my eye, I've been going through some things in my eye, which is one of the reasons why this podcast has been delayed. I was supposed to drop in January, but I had some things going on with my eye. I was diagnosed with a disease, a corneal disease called keratoconus, and I have liquid sitting on my cornea right now on my left eye here. It might show as my right eye, it depends. I don't know how it looks on you guys' end. But so as you can see, it looks a little crazy. I'll come closer. So I got liquid sitting on that cornea. So I actually normally have been wearing some kind of glasses just to kind of deal with the light sensitivity. So I would have came rocking these tonight. But with it being the first episode, I wanted you guys to see my face, see my expressions, and all of the above. So bear with me. God's going to heal me from that. And just waiting on my victory, really. Just waiting on God to do that. It's something I seen the eye specialist about. They said I can either have a corneal surgery to get the liquid removed. Other than that, they just gave me some eye drops and told me it could take 6 to 9 months for the liquid to go away. There really isn't anything that they can do unless I have the surgery. So, not trying to have surgery, just gonna wait on God to heal me. So that's what's going on with that. Back to what I was talking about before that. I kind of lost my place, but I think I was going to talk about the Super Bowl. All right. So the Super Bowl, like I said, I'm a Lions fan. My heart was broken when we didn't go. We lost to the Commanders. That's another episode for another day. I am completely anti Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, I actually call them the Kansas City Cheats because the referees, whew, man, they got listen, the Chiefs, they got a dose of their own medicine in that Super Bowl. And I was so glad that Philly blew them boys off the field, man. Oh, so glad Philly blew them boys off the field. Shouts out and congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to my boy Darius Slay, not my boy. I don't know him personally. I did meet him at a Pistons game one time on the side court or on the floor, courtside. I met Darius Slay courtside. But shout out to him. He was a Detroit Lion for about 8 seasons before Matt Patricia ran him out of town. He's been with Philly ever since. He won the Super Bowl. I'm so happy for him. Brandon Graham, we follow each other on Instagram and have since actually probably like 2015 or so. We used to message. I DM'd him a few times when they won the first Super Bowl in 2017. So shout out to him. He's a Detroit legend and Michigan alum. Shout out to Brandon Graham. And just shout out to all of the Philadelphia Eagles except C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Oh, can't stand that dude, man. He was a former Lion for 1 year, got hurt, talked all that trash, went to Philly, and then he said that his one season with the Detroit Lions was hell. Even though we went 12-5 and he missed like 12 out of 17 games. Anyway, shout out to the Eagles. Oh, I'm so glad to see them beat the Chiefs, man. Did not want to see that three-peat. Did not want to hear those Chiefs fans. I despise. Now, I do love Andy Reid, though. Don't get me wrong. I love Andy Reid. I like Isaiah Pacheco and some of those players. Chris Jones is dope. So over Kelsey and Taylor Swift stuff. I'm so over that stuff, man. Definitely don't like Patrick Mahomes. You sound like Kermit the Frog. I hope that I don't lose no followers by saying that, but it is what it is. I'll never be a Mahomes fan. I got friends who love Mahomes. I got friends that are Chiefs fans, and I know that they will still love and support me, although I said that. But yeah, I'm literally anti-Chiefs. You'll never hear me say anything good about the Kansas City Chiefs. Red is my favorite color. I'll say that. They got a nice the red jerseys are dope. And let's be clear, right? For all intents and purposes, I celebrate greatness. I don't hate greatness. I just don't. I don't like when a fan base is created overnight, right? I'm a Lions fan. I've been a Lions fan since the Pontiac Silverdome. I'm from a city called Pontiac, Michigan, where the Lions and the Pistons played in the 80s. I'm from Michigan. I'm a Pistons fan. I'm a Lions fan. I'm a Tigers fan. I'm a Red Wings fan. And Michigan State. Go green. I am not a bandwagon jumper. I'm not a jump here, jump there. I don't even follow players around. When Ndamukong Suh left, peace. Once you ain't a Lion, you ain't a Lion no more. Like, I rock with my team. Stafford was traded. Deuces. Goff is my guy. By the way, he had the worst game of his career, and he chose the wrong time to do it. But that's still my guy. I just don't want to hear no more Jared Goff chants no more. I'm over it. I don't even want to win 15 games next year. I just want us to get to the playoffs and just take care of business one round at a time. The cost of winning and the cost of greatness is my Detroit Lions lost 7 coaches this offseason. Man, that's crazy. 7? We lost our offensive and defensive coordinator. We lost several position coaches. Shout out to those guys, man. You know, this year was really special. 15-2. We did some really special things. We lost a really hard playoff game. Injuries caught up to us. You know, we never use injuries, and we never use the injury excuse, and we never use the referee excuse. We don't like to do that over here. Not over here at Rutley Sports Media. We don't like to do that. We like to, you get a 60-minute game in the NFL, you get a 48-minute game in the NBA. You hate for the referees to decide a game because that's the ugliness of it, and it takes away from the beauty of a good game, you know, when it comes down to it. But You know, the Lions did, those injuries finally caught up. You know, when Aiden Hutchinson goes down, we still rip off 10 straight after he goes down. So um, shout out to Aaron Glenn, and shout out to the team for just making those wins and just making it happen. Um, you know, through it all. Shout out to them for persevering. Um, you know, there's been a few games where Jared Goff had a terrible game, but the defense was able to, you know, more than make up for his bad game, for his poor choices. For instance, the Houston game, he threw 5 interceptions, and we still win that game by a field goal. You know, Jaden Daniels coming to Detroit, he wasn't going for all that. Like, they took advantage of every mistake Detroit made. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a little sad, just reminiscing. It all just came back. But yeah, man, we here, man. Ready, set, rut. We ready, we set, and we going for it this season, man. So stay tuned to Ready, Set, Rut. I'll be posting clips on my Instagram page. The Instagram page is Ready, Set, Rut. That's ReadySetRut. No dashes, no spaces, none of that other stuff. It's just Ready, Set, Rut. We're going to be Ready, Set, Rut on Instagram. We're going to be Ready, Set, Rut on Twitter, a.k.a. X. We're going to be Rutley Sports Media on Facebook. Yeah. Welcome to my page. Peace and love. Until next time, guys. Let's go.